Ladies and gentlemen, respected students, viewers, there is another topic for which which is the talk of the table, that is how to educate modern child of 21st century. This has become a biggest challenge for the parents even. Parents, they are thinking because child is very modern, child is very educated, child is very groomed, and they are equipped with the digital aids as well. So how to cater this type of the child of the 21st century in the present time? For this, we have requested Mr. Asad Jappa, a renowned educationist, writer, columnist, motivational speaker, and civil servant to talk about how to educate modern child of 21st century. I request you to please welcome Mr. Asad Jappa. He is going to talk about how to educate child of 21st century. That has become a biggest challenge for the parents even. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Principal and the team of City School Jung Campus for allowing me this opportunity to talk on a very important subject, a very critical topic to really enlighten your management, parents, and students as to how we can educate children in 21st century, an age which is very demanding, an age which is digitally driven, times which are really very, very demanding. Our students today are really equipped with loads of information, gadgetries, technological support, which was not really available to students, say, 3 to 4 decades before. In order to proceed further with this topic, I would like to set the context right. I would like to start with a comparison, a brief introduction as to how this 21st century child, this 21st century school system, this 21st century education is different from 20th century education model. We really need to set the context right. We really need to understand the difference between the environment which was prevalent in 20th century and the environment which we have now. We really understand, and you and me, we used to go to schools which are far different than the ones where your and my children are going. And there is a huge world of difference between the educational models that you and me were exposed about 3 to 4 decades before, and the educational model which is now available to our students. When we talk of 20th century education, when we talk of our educational institutions, say 4 to 5 decades ago, 80s, 90s, education was a lot different. Schools were different. Our teachers, their teaching methodologies, their approach towards their classrooms, their lecture delivery model, that was entirely different paradigm. In 20th century or the older model, education was from the supply side. It was only one-way traffic, one-way street. Our teachers would come prepared with their lectures. They would come prepared with their topics. They'll vomit out all they knew. And it was a one-way traffic. They would come and deliver all they knew. And we as students were dumb listeners. Asking questions was equated to a practical insult. Inquiry and inquisitive mind was discouraged. Teacher would really be the be-all and end-all of the classroom environment. It was authoritarian, rather dictatorial regime, which was prevalent in the classrooms. There was an environment of terror, fear, and awe, in which learning was really restricted to rote learning, cramming, to just giving the desired answers, not the right answers. Because the desired answer was one which we were told by the teacher. there were no other sources of knowledge handy those days. We only knew and we only believed what was being told and what was being taught. Whether that was right or wrong, or only our teachers would know. Or if we had good fortunes, we were lucky enough to have educated parents at home. So at times there were, cross verifications from our parents' side, father or mother or both. They would at times, while we were doing our homework, they would rectify those errors. They would come to our rescue and tell us ways to address the same question, to tackle the same query or topic in a different manner. But largely speaking, it was the teacher who was the governor general of the class, and it was he who was telling us. And we were left with no choice but to believe in what was being told to us. But today, as we speak, things have undergone totally a paradigm shift. Things have totally changed from a one-way traffic to students who are really flooded with and loaded with loads of information available through their iPads and through their Android phones. I always call this generation as Google generation. They Google any idea, and the Google machine comes back to help the child with answers, more than one. There are always, when it is put in that search engine, the student is equipped with not only the right answers, but also answers. The same mathematical equation is dealt with quite a few different ways. There are examples and illustrations, there are diagrams, and there are methods of solving the same question, more than one. So today, the child that we are teaching at school is far more educated, far more aware, and far more indeed informed than the students which were really there on campus, say 4 to 5 decades ago. So therefore, having said this, having understood the context, we really need to understand the demands, the challenges that now are coming from our students, the questions which keep arising in their fertile minds. We really need to be flexible enough. We really need to be, as teachers, as school managers on campus, we really need to be well equipped with the right answers. We really need to be accommodative enough, and we really need to understand that the students who are sitting in front of us in the classes know already. They are very creative. They are very well informed. So the classroom ambience than the one that we were exposed to. We have students now in classes who are ready to ask questions. So we have to be flexible enough. We have to be tolerant enough to ask to entertain their questions, to give them the answers that we know, and at times plainly regret our inability to answer their questions. Because it is always better to admit our limitations. It is always better to make straight and simple confessions that, okay, if you have asked a question, I will come better prepared tomorrow. And I will come to answer the same question tomorrow after when I have gone through the relevant sources of knowledge. And it is always a fruitful academic discourse that we need to now engage into. Because children who were born from 1995 onwards, in the last 2.5 decades, as and when we see this dawn of digital age, these computer technologies, these Android phones, in the last 1.5 decades. So, and in early 21st century, in last 2 decades or so, they are digitally informed, they're digitally equipped, hence they're termed and known as digital natives. And if our teachers who were really born a decade or two before than the children whom they're teaching, and they were never used to the Android phones, and they were never used to computer education. Uh, and if they have not built their capacities now, if they are not really equipped themselves with the right knowledge and the tools through capacity building trainings, through continued professional development, they are digital aliens. So a digital alien teacher cannot teach a digital native. That's a central question in 21st century education, that we as teachers, we as educationists, we as school managers, we really need to understand this dichotomy and this new reality. And it is time already that we really equip our teachers with the digital technologies around. If we are expecting our children to deliver the desired results, we as teachers really need to equip ourselves. We have to equate our knowledge with the knowledge base, with the information level of our students. We can no longer befool our students sitting in front of us by giving them the inaccurate, unreliable answers, because they can, even in their break time, they may have Android phone and they can Google the same concept. In your next class, they can embarrass the teacher and say the right answer probably was the one that was not shared with them, and they may stand up and say that here is the right answer. So it is always better either to equip yourself and build your capacity, and at the same time be honest enough. If you don't know the answer, there is always a better way of saying a polite no on that day, and seek a day-long adjournment and ask them to tell them to, you'll come prepared next day. No harm. That's called intellectual honesty. So in these demanding times, in these challenging digital-driven times, we really need to build our capacity as school managers, build our capacity as teachers, and give the right education that our children are looking for. Now, moving forward with our topic, 21st century education, and in these pandemic times, a new reality has dawned. That is online education. That is digital classrooms. That's how we are reaching out to our students while they are sitting at home. We are teaching them. Through the wings of technology, we are sharing our knowledge. This knowledge transfer came as a bolt from blue. We were not really ready for it. As school managers, as teachers, we were not, and nor were the students. At the same time, the parents also never expected this corona pandemic coming on the way in a jiffy, and all the stakeholders related to school education, be they parents, students, teachers, and managers, they were all caught napping, and they had to grapple with this new reality in far quicker fashion. There are snags, there are issues, there are technological. At times, there are things which come from nowhere, and we have to learn far faster and quicker to grapple with these new realities which dawn from nowhere. But now, this corona pandemic is a reality. Still, the campuses are off, and we are reaching out to our students through this online education. And this has exposed our students to an entirely new world of education, which is online, which is internet-based, which is technological-driven. And while there are some palpable advantages, there are at the same time risks and dangers. And our students are exposed to a variety of risks, be they digressions, be they porn sites, be they unnecessary surfing on the net, on social media. Our students are exposed to a variety of risks, and at times cyber crimes, at times games which are claiming lives, like the PUBG game. We have seen in last few weeks, it has claimed few lives, and our young people are really driven into this murderous game, and so many other nefarious, evil, malicious sites and opportunities which are available online. So this is a highly volatile area when we talk of education and online education and digital driven education. While it is really a ready and handy solution, at the same time it really is liable to a variety of risks and dangers. And we as parents, we as school managers and teachers, we really need to keep an eye on where our children are available, where they are surfing, what sites they are accessing, what subjects they are exploring, what topics they are really spending their time with. So it is very, very important to stay in constant watch and keep an eye on the activities, online activities that our students are really busy.